Hello, my name is Mackenzie, and I'm a fourth-year Bachelor of Interior Design student at Vancouver Island University. My project I will be walking you through today is called Uplift Center, and it is a facility for ALS therapy and research. I will begin by introducing my project topic, then I will provide an explanation of what ALS is and who the demographic is. We will then discuss the problem, significance, goals, and solutions of this project, as well as the location and site of the facility and the existing building that was used. I will then walk you through the programming and design of the facility and give insight into the decisions I made in respect to the ALS community. To begin, I want to read you a quote by Stephen Hawking, who had experienced ALS for 55 years of his life. "We are all different. There is no such thing as a standard or run-of-the-mill human being, but we share the same human spirit. This concept can be translated into design by understanding the importance of inclusivity and developing spaces for every type of user." Located at the UBC campus grounds in Vancouver, British Columbia, this center aims to provide a mental and physical safe space for patients and families affected by ALS. The facility will occupy both a therapy and care unit, while also accommodating a clinical trials laboratory and office space for the ALS Society of BC. This is a place where research professionals and scientists, therapists, and caregivers can coexist in the same facility. This allows for patients to receive not only essential support, but also well-educated care and assistance. So what is ALS? Also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS is a motor neuron disease that gradually paralyzes the systems of the body. It disconnects vital communication from the brain to the muscles of the body that we are typically able to move at will. This causes the person to gradually lose use of their physical body, as well as the ability to speak, and some need respiratory assistance to help them breathe. This makes the everyday tasks of a person experiencing ALS different from how we may experience them in our own day-to-day lives. ALS is a spectrum. No one person will experience it the exact same way as the other. This can be due to the stage they are in, or the type of ALS they are experiencing, or their own personal situations. In the early stages, ALS can be completely invisible. There are three main types of ALS: sporadic, familial, and bulbar. Sporadic ALS is the most common and can affect anyone regardless of sex, ethnicity, or age, or any other genetic factors. Familial ALS is capable of being passed from a parent to their child. And in bulbar ALS, the muscles of the head, face, and neck become paralyzed before muscles in other parts of the body. So what is the cause? There is no singular consistent cause for this disease. Some causes are likely based on changes in people's genes and the possible contribution of environmental factors, but as of now, there is no one known cause. These are some statistics of how ALS affects people throughout Canada as well as in British Columbia. In BC, there is currently an average of 400 people living with ALS, while nationwide there are 3,000. The prognosis for 80% of people living with ALS is 2 to 5 years. As mentioned earlier, Stephen Hawking living 55 years with ALS is a very rare occurrence. Less than 10% of diagnoses are hereditary, with the majority of the causes still unknown. 80% of burden care is shouldered by the families, and 2 out of 100,000 people are diagnosed each year in Canada. The demographic for this facility is any one person or family who are experiencing ALS. Patients of any gender are welcome. ALS is most commonly found in males. Patients of any age are welcome. However, the average age affected is 40 plus. This facility is made for use by patients and families living in British Columbia. People who are independent and those who depend on physical assistance are all welcome, as well as those who require use of assistive equipment. I have chosen to develop this facility because ALS has affected my family as well as my close friends. I aim to develop a space for reputable care and therapy that will improve the quality of life for the affected families and brings clinical trials to BC in the hopes of finding a cure. So what is the problem? Firstly, there is a lack of independence and resources. The ALS Society of BC, as it stands now, is segregated throughout multiple distant locations in British Columbia. This includes support groups, physical therapy locations, therapy and counseling, as well as the ALS BC office headquarters. There is no single standalone facility for all of these occupations to take place. The only ALS rehabilitation center located in BC is a building shared with other healthcare facilities, which is known as the GF Strong Rehabilitation Center in Vancouver. The image you see here is in the basement of the ALS clinic at GF Strong, and is a visual example of why the development of Uplift Center is so important. As well, clinical trials are a crucial part in the fight to end ALS. As described by ALS Canada, clinical trials are research studies that use human volunteers to test new therapies. After scientists test experimental therapies in the laboratory, those with promising results move to clinical trial to determine whether the therapy is safe and effective for use in humans. These aid doctors to find ways to develop new treatments and medications for specific diseases and conditions. Right now, there are a very limited capacity of resources to support clinical trials and research in BC for ALS. Anybody who wishes to participate in clinical trials in British Columbia must travel out of province. So how will Uplift Center approach and solve these problems? While the ultimate physical goal is to provide independence and bring clinical trials to BC, the overarching premise of Uplift Center is to provide a mental and physical safe space for patients and families. This is possible through inclusivity, well-being, and consistency. By developing an inclusive interior, Uplift Center will foster a space that is void of any prejudice or judgment. The center aims to improve the social, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being of the patients through encouraging families to develop community and personal connection. Lastly, a consistent interior must promote an inclusive atmosphere. By providing a stable, consistent location, patients and families can feel comfortable having a reliable support system to return back to. As well, designing with consistency to avoid any uncertainty or insecurity in the building is key. As inclusivity, well-being, and consistency are outlined as the goals of this facility, the predominant solution is to address the location of occupations. By providing a distinct and specified location for ALS support and research, patients and families can have a reliable, consistent space to receive the necessary counseling and care that they need, welcomed with open arms and free from external anxieties. This includes providing a clinical trials laboratory to aid in the research endeavors to end ALS, which ultimately benefits the well-being and enthusiasm of the patients and their families. These are the 4 key elements that aim to connect all differing aspects of the facility, from therapy and care to trials and research to socialization and leisure. By developing a steady connection between community and personal connection, improved quality of life, active inclusivity, and reputable care and research, the solution of developing a standalone facility can be meaningfully addressed. Situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, the proposed location for Uplift Center is at the south end of the UBC campus in Vancouver, British Columbia, at Westbrook Mall. Surrounded by an abundance of amenities from campus markets and grocery stores, daycares, UBC Welcome Center, the Center for Drug and Research Development, and many more, this location is no longer than a 5-minute walk away from the necessary on-site amenities. With the facility located at UBC, there is the opportunity for students from the Faculty of Science and Medicine to collaborate in crucial research and trials. UBC also highlights its 7 universal principles utilized on campus, including equitable use, flexibility in use, simple and intuitive use, perceptible information, tolerance for error, low physical effort, and size and spaces for approach and use. Important external travel points and amenities are no more than 45 minutes away from the site, including Vancouver General Hospital, GF Strong Rehabilitation Center, ALS Society of BC current headquarters, Vancouver International Airport, BC Ferries Terminal, and downtown Vancouver. These are important for families who need to travel from elsewhere in British Columbia. Located to the east of the site is the Pacific Spirit Regional Park and the UBC Endowment Lands Ecological Reserve, which develop a forested park with crisscrossing walking trails for patients and families to explore. Starting to the west of the site is the Main Street entry and parking lot, as well as the building entry and loading bays, which houses storage for the equipment loan program. To the south of the site is the 2nd Street entry to the overnight housing, as well as staff parking. To the east of the site is the proposed overnight housing facility, which will accommodate approximately 4 fully accessible rooms and a gathering space. As well, to the east of the building is the entry for larger delivery trucks. The existing building used for this project is the Vancouver Island Regional Library in Nanaimo, British Columbia. This bright and open building was originally a redevelopment of the Administration Center and the new construction of the Nanaimo North Library branch, including 3 loading bays that total approximately 2,000 square feet of receiving and shipment space. The building uses parallel strand lumber construction, which is made of dried and grated wood veneers, strands, or flakes that are layered and bonded together and adhered into large structural supports such as beams or columns. As well, locally harvested fir columns and beams are used throughout. The building boasts an abundance of clerestory windows aiding to the utilization of passive solar techniques within the building, including assistance from exterior shading devices and high-efficiency glazing systems. To begin the walkthrough of the final design, I will first present the concept and overall mood of Uplift Center. So this is the mood board for this project. It encompasses natural wood tones as well as warm terracotta colors and green hues. It incorporates a balance of soft textiles and solid surface materials, as well as a calming atmosphere and biophilic elements. Orange or terracotta colors are known to elicit enthusiasm and cheerfulness, while sage tones promote a balanced mindset and is often used as a biophilic element to calm the mind. As an outpatient care facility, it is important to develop a reliable setting where ALS patients have a space to receive necessary therapy and counseling, and also a space for leisure and personal connection. In order to cultivate a supportive environment, the design itself must uphold an encouraging and welcoming atmosphere. Incorporating natural wood tones into the space will bring in an essence of the biological exterior world, which allows patients to feel grounded and at ease, not confined inside a stark healthcare facility. Balancing a warm and unsaturated terracotta color palette with a simplified curvilinear layout will aid the psychological rest of the patient while also simplifying the interior for ease of wayfinding. By designing with a minimalistic and sustainable approach, patients will not be overstimulated and can feel comfortable in finding some independence throughout the space. For the programming breakdown, I will first guide you through the overall spaces, and then we will take a closer look at each of the individual spaces. This overall plan divides the different sections of the facility between public and social spaces, the therapy and health spaces, and the private occupations. This flow points out the key exits of the building and emphasizes the overall radial movement throughout the building. Beginning at the south end of the building is the public and social spaces. Here we have the front entry vestibule, the lobby waiting areas, the central reception and administration, the small-scale pharmacy and back of house, the cafe and lounge, the family lounge, support group therapy room, and the music therapy studio. As well, there are 2 accessible washrooms adjacent to the cafe, and just at the bottom is the beginning of the central washrooms. And lastly, there is a small storage closet just off of the reception for any personal items or luggage that is needed to be stored for the day. The south end has the most windows, so it was important to decipher which occupations would inhabit this side of the building. Positioned in the center of the building are the therapy and health areas. Here we have the speech therapy office, the 2 clinical counseling offices, and the nutritional counseling office. Located in the center of the facility is the occupational therapy gym, and located just below is the nurse's office and the 4 exam rooms. As well, you can see the continuation of the 6 central accessible washrooms, as well as a maintenance closet, and a large storage room utilized to store equipment for fundraising events. As these occupations are central, it was important to delegate the exterior windows to the counseling rooms. The north end of the building houses the office headquarters for the ALS Society of BC. Here we have the Executive Assistant and Donor Relations Office, the Executive Director's Office, the Communications Coordinator, the Patient and Support Coordinator, the Finance Coordinator, the Volunteer and Intern Workstations, and the Volunteer Coordinator's Office. There is also the Counseling Room for caregivers and the Boardroom for large meetings. Using a radial planning approach, located at the center of all of these occupations is the Staff Lounge. By locating these occupations at the north end, these private spaces are able to be isolated from any social or public activities, but are still incorporated into the building as a necessary service. Lastly are the larger scale proposed facilities. These include the Equipment Loan Program storage, which utilizes the 3 existing loading bays, that will also house the Equipment Loan Program Coordinator's Office and the Equipment Loan Manager's Office. And finally, we have the Clinical Trials Laboratory, which has an abundance of windows at its east side. Additional spaces include the Mechanical Room and the Electrical Room. For the final design portion, we will take a closer look at the design of each space and examine how it aids to benefit the users. This is the overall floor plan of Uplift Center. This 29,000 square foot building is one single level. It was important to avoid a building that needed use of stairs or an elevator for this project. The key features of this layout include curved walls to help with the flow of the space, an intentional floor pattern that helps to highlight the waiting area and also leads the eye to the exit door towards the exterior gardens. As well, positioned throughout is seating spaces upholstered in terracotta colors. This is so it is easy to spot if someone needs a rest down a long corridor. The majority of the flooring selections are a heterogeneous sheet floor, which is a high-traffic, low-maintenance solution to flooring in healthcare and educational facilities. It is low-gloss to avoid glare when transitioning from outside to inside, and it neglects the use of grout lines or major seams for infection control and low maintenance. The reflected ceiling plan features the existing fir ceiling in the tall public spaces. However, because the tallest points of the building are 22 feet to 23 feet high, it was important to implement acoustic elements. Over the family lounge are suspended acoustic panels, as well as feature arches in the cafe that offer acoustic properties. Incorporated into the lobby ceiling is also an acoustic feature that integrates cove lighting. It is important to include indirect lighting wherever possible, as to avoid any harsh glare or reflection throughout the spaces. Also note the use of existing clerestory windows. The 3 windows closer to the west end help to brighten up the corridor below and the office space, as well as the vaulted clerestory window at the east end. Now let's take a closer look at the public and social spaces. The main entry vestibule, enclosed by 2 accessible automatic sliding doors, opens up to the reception and main lobby waiting areas. The lobby seating spaces are mirrored on either side of a central interior garden. This seating space is delegated as a waiting area for the counseling rooms, whereas this seating space is delegated as a waiting area for the exam rooms. The small room off of reception is the patient personal storage room for larger personal belongings. The reception desk itself is at a fully accessible height all the way around. The feature wall behind the desk is at a slight angle towards the entry, which aids new users of the space to easily spot the reception. Black and large font wayfinding are utilized to be easily spot from a distance, and behind this sign are reeded acoustic panels for sound control at reception. The white painted timber lining boards are utilized on the walls throughout the building and add a textural appeal as opposed to a plain white wall. Hovering above the reception is an existing clerestory window which allows an abundance of natural light into the space. This is a perspective of the lobby area from the viewpoint of the main entrance. Here you will see an abundance of indirect and cove lighting, which guides the eye through the lobby space. To the left is the occupational therapy gym, as well as a complimentary beverage bar for patients waiting for an appointment. The custom curved seating in the lobby promotes conversation, whereas the individual terracotta lounge chairs provide more private, sociofugal seating. The interior garden provides a subtle barrier between the spaces, but ultimately works to bring nature indoors. The arched ceiling feature is upholstered with a felt acoustic textile that contains 60% post-consumer recycled material. This provides not only visual appeal, but also acoustic control in the 23-foot tall space. Adjacent to the reception is the administration and support coordinator's office, as well as the 2 accessible washrooms nearest to the cafe. The administration office houses 2 workstations and a printing station, and is accessible just off of reception. Utilizing carpet tile and prefabricated systems furniture lowers the cost in the back-of-house areas such as this. The 2 accessible washrooms provide 90-degree swing grab bars on either side of the toilet, as well as surface mount grab bars on either side of the sink for additional assistance. The flooring in the washroom is called a bioflooring. It is made with 40% pre-consumer recycled material and is low VOC emitting and PVC and red list free. The flooring curves halfway up the wall of the washroom and is met by a sculpted wall panel system. This mimics the appearance of ceramic tile. The countertops are made of paper stone, which are sheets of recycled paper that are saturated with petroleum-free resins and pigment, then compressed under heat and pressure. With plenty of movable space, the washrooms can accompany a family member or caregiver for any needed additional assistance. Located near the main entry is the small-scale pharmacy. After an examination, patients are able to retrieve their prescription from the pharmacy. There is also seating accommodations for consultation with a pharmacist. As this would often be the last spot a patient would visit throughout their day at Uplift Center, the pharmacy is located adjacent to the main exit and entry door. The original fir columns frame the entry of the pharmacy, yet within the pharmacy, oak wood veneer is used within the millwork to brighten up the space. To allow as much natural light to flow into the space as possible, interior glazing is installed opposite of the cash desk. This allows patients to spot the pharmacy easily when in the lobby. As this is an open space, a pull-down grill door is provided for security when the facility is closed. To accommodate any big or small pharmaceutical equipment, the back-of-house area provides an abundance of storage space and includes aluminum countertops for easy cleaning. Moving on to the cafe and family lounge. The cafe is designed to be a safe and social space for families experiencing ALS to meet and garner connections with others while enjoying the comfort of well-made and accessible meals and drinks. As well, on-campus students are all welcome to use the cafe as a break from classes or as a study space. In this area, we have the main cafe seating spaces, the cafe lounge, the service counter and storage kitchen, as well as an additional storage closet for chairs and tables. The lunch-style meals are to be provided by the UBC culinary students. The cafe service counter is fully accessible to approach when ordering and picking up your order. The large menus installed above the counter are simpler to spot rather than installing them farther away behind the counter. The milk and sugar station is also accessible and is kept close to the main counter. In these spaces, we begin to see the combined use of sage green tones and terracotta colors. This fire clay tile behind these banquette seats offer a textural appeal, and the sheer drapery behind these banquette seats emulates a subtle calming movement. This custom millwork is located in the center of the cafe and encompasses a waste receptacle, counter seating, and built-in planters. As well, a railing is installed around the structure for anyone who is waiting in line at the service counter or for any needed additional assistance. This post-industrial consumer terrazzo countertop is utilized both in this custom millwork piece as well as the cafe service counter. This material is engineered from recycled cement, fly ash that has been saved from contaminating waterways, and rare recycled marble and granite chips from closed and abandoned quarries. In this perspective of the cafe, you can see the arched acoustic panels here, which are lit from the bottom. As well and behind are the social lounge spaces. While the banquette seating offers chairs at each end, these chairs are not fixed and can be easily moved to accommodate wheelchairs and even stored within the additional storage just off of the kitchen. These timber cladding panels are used throughout the building and are lit upwards as a feature and to highlight the lounge space. These glowing glass globe pendants provide light for eating and conversation without producing harsh glare or shadows on the table. At the southeast end of the building is the family lounge. This space allows families who may have children to pause and rest and encourages families to meet and create new connections. It is important to foster these connections wherever possible. This elevation shows the two lounge spaces at the end of the cafe, as well as the family lounge. Within the lounge is a custom curved bench that exhibits playfulness, along with the movable square poofs as a space for children to play with toys or read books. The bench has a built-in garden, which acts as both a protection from too much sunlight, but also brings nature inside. The bookshelf offers storage below for children's toys, as well as books and magazines for leisure. Hanging beneath the suspended acoustic square panels are 4 large pendant lights made in a sprayed cocoon material, which provides both diffused and direct lighting. Just outside of the family lounge is a proposed garden and walkway where patients and families can stay close to the building, but still enjoy what nature has to offer. This space hosts the entry to the support group room and the music therapy studio, as well as the entrance to the 6 central accessible washrooms. There is also a digital rotating news screen for people to view any upcoming fundraising events in the area or read about milestones and personal stories within the community. Just outside of the entrance to the support group room is also a fabric notice board and a seating space. This space is wide open as to allow people to meet prior to entering the room. The glazing outside of the music therapy studio allows natural light to enter to the space, but also aids the patient's enthusiasm as they can view the excitement and joy as other community members play music inside. Adjacent to the washroom entry is a small seating space for family members to wait outside, or it also acts as a conversational corner. The support group room is a space made for patients from all over British Columbia to come and share their stories or to simply be in the company of each other. While this space can be utilized as a safe space for conversation, other activities can take place here, such as art classes or movies and seminars, which can be easily accessed by a recessed projector screen in the ceiling. An accessible kitchenette is provided for users to enjoy a meal together, and a small corner lounge space as well. There is also a storage closet for any additional chairs or tables, and a coat closet is situated in eyesight of the entry. This room also houses a single accessible washroom, and it has its own exit to the exterior gardens, as per code, but also for any activities that may take part in the summer months outdoors. The circular cove lighting above the conversation space is designed to elicit comfort and help the patients feel warm and grounded. Adjacent to the support group room is the music therapy studio. Using different shaped instruments aids to continue working the patient's fine motor skills. The focus it takes to play instruments also increases brain function. As well, light vocal warm-ups can assist to increase and monitor verbal communication. The studio utilizes various shaped acoustic panels on the walls, as well as felt baffles on the ceiling, and carpet tile on the floor. With plenty of storage space and different learning spaces, this room aims to elicit joy and foster a community. Located in the center of the facility are the therapy and health occupations. Beginning at the west end are the counseling rooms. We first have the speech counseling room, then the 2 clinical counseling rooms, and lastly, the nutritional counseling room. With more intimate 9-foot ceilings in these spaces, patients are made to feel comfortable and at ease during a counseling session. There's a space for the counselor's desk and personal storage, as well as the counselor's seating and a sturdy sofa for the patients. There is plenty of turning space for a wheelchair, and the counselor's seat can be relocated if an extra accommodation is needed. The herringbone pattern on the floor is void of any area rugs, as to keep an appropriate clearance for a wheelchair turning radius. Wood finishes and sage hues are designed to help the patient feel balanced and welcomed. The room is made to feel as if the patient is in their own living room. Outside of the counseling rooms is the counseling corridor. Each door is framed by frosted glazing, which allows light to flow from the counseling rooms into the corridor, but respects the privacy of the patients and the counselors inside. As this corridor is longer, the entry to each room is set back as to avoid designing a long and flat hallway of doors. As well, there are integrated handrails along the corridor for added walking assistance. The existing clerestory windows bring natural light into the corridor above. In the occupational therapy gym, various equipment is used to aid the patient to continue using their muscles as well as build stamina. A physiotherapist will work with the patient to assist with cardiorespiratory management techniques to stimulate positive lung function. As well, they will work with the patient through individualized exercise programs to optimize safe and independent mobility. In this space, there are 2 physiotherapy spaces that can be closed with a curtain, as well as a storage closet, office space, and an accessible washroom. As this is a low-impact gym, maple heterogeneous sheet flooring is used to make the space feel more comfortable. Adjacent to the therapy gym are the nurse's office and 4 exam rooms. In these exam rooms, a neurologist assesses patient symptoms and will run diagnostic testing when deemed necessary. Stereotyped as a white-walled, fluorescent-lit, cramped space, the doctor's office or exam room can be a daunting or even traumatic experience for some. So while this is not a space made for leisure, it is most important to design with comfort as the leading principle. This is shown through the use of oak wood textures and spacious, slanted ceilings. The angled ceilings allow for triangle-shaped glazing on either side of the office, which lets natural light flow through each room. As well, suspended acoustic linear LED light fixtures aid to light the space. The floor pattern delegates where the patient's space is versus the doctor's space is, and just like many of the other spaces, a heterogeneous sheet flooring is used for easy cleaning and low maintenance. There is also a space for a family member or caregiver to be present at the time of the examination. The exam and laboratory corridor provides seating for families waiting outside of the exam rooms, or for anyone who needs a break when walking down the hallway. This corridor provides windows into the laboratory for patients to view behind-the-scenes research at a limited capacity, as to keep confidentiality and privacy in the laboratory. Handrails are also accessible for those who need assistance down longer corridors. This tall space is positioned underneath a vaulted clerestory window, which allows light in from the west end. Dark wayfinding and a basic lettering system is designed to stand out and make the exam rooms simple to find. The additional areas within the therapy and health section are the 6 central accessible washrooms, a janitor's and maintenance closet, as well as an event storage room. The washrooms utilize the same design and materials as the washrooms nearest to the cafe. However, these toilets have integrated lifts as additional assistive equipment. The event storage closet is used to store items such as large fundraising tents or folding tables and chairs for outdoor fundraisers hosted by the ALS Society of BC. At the north end of the building are the ALS Society of BC headquarters. These offices are designed relatively the same, with carpet tile and systems furniture, as well as comfortable ergonomic office seating and a space for guest seating. The Executive Director's office is larger to accommodate a small meeting space and integrates a door that shares with the Assistant's office for quick and easy communication. The 4 volunteer and intern workstations are open and include both individual desks and a collaborative zone. As well, it includes an office supplies and printing station. The staff lounge houses an accessible washroom, kitchenette, coffee bar, and lounge space. Outside of the lounge is a coat closet, as well as personalized mailboxes for the staff. The large boardroom obtains an electric fireplace, large screen and technology for teleconferences and presentations, as well as coat storage and a buffet for complimentary coffee and food. Members from all over British Columbia will collaborate in this space to discuss important strategies for fundraising, research collaboration, and the like. These spaces still carry a bright and airy concept, however, is designed with a more professional intention. Lastly are the larger scale proposed occupations. The Equipment Loan Program provides mobility equipment, lifts, beds and accessories, bathroom aids, and communication devices for patients to utilize at home and in their everyday lives, with the hope to reduce financial burden on the families. This program is possible through donations and sponsors. This storage space with the 3 loading bays is able to accommodate this equipment, as well as a cleaning station. Within this shipment and receiving space are the offices for the Equipment Loan Program Manager and the Equipment Loan Coordinator, as well as a mechanical room and an electrical room. And finally, the Research and Clinical Trials Laboratory. This lab will incorporate professionals as well as UBC students studying within the Faculty of Medicine. With approximately 3,500 square feet, this allotted space can accommodate a state-of-the-art lab and bring clinical trials to British Columbia. So in conclusion, the main driving point for this project is to improve the quality of life for patients and families affected by ALS. This space aims to provide an uplifting atmosphere that will support the patients and families through this uncertain time. The provided therapy and care units can assist families with long-term coping methods, and the proposed laboratory can help increase the motivation and resources to end ALS. By collecting all the separate parts of ALS BC and housing them into one independent facility, patients can feel as though they have a consistent, reliable space to always come to for reputable care, assistance in the home, or whatever their needs may be. I hope you learned not only about my proposed project, but about ALS and how it is affecting our families in British Columbia. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.